Hello and welcome to PCOS Conversations with Julie and Laura. Hey, Laura.
I am Justin.
Nice. I guess we always introduce ourselves. Well, my name is Julie Duffy Dillon. I'm a registered dietitian and I'm a non-diet and fat positive dietitian, and I help people with PCOS to feel more at home in their body and also hopefully more energized and more just powerful to, I don't know, say F off to diet culture. So, and my favorite is Laura Burns here. How are you doing, Laura?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm Laura Burns. I'm a body liberation yoga teacher. I teach online and in-person yoga classes and body liberation events and workshops and courses and retreats and all of the different ways that I try to connect with people. And my whole thing is about helping people to find ways to honor and celebrate their bodies as they are in this moment.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I think you're pretty outstanding. So I'm glad to be talking with you today and having some more PCOS conversations. And
Yeah.
show us that new card deck. We have a new card pull to do today, don't we?
Yes.
Yes.
And we're actually filming this at a different time than we normally do. So let's see if you can actually see it because there's not direct sun blasting in. Oh, well.
No.
This window.
There's no way we're going to do it in the morning. Let's not even kid. But maybe at night it won't do that.
So anyway, this is the card. It looks white. And look how thick she is.
Yes.
Love it. She's a full size now. We've been, if you've been with us, then you know we've been pulling cards from this deck, and it only had 12 cards. And now we finally have our full version. So there are 24 cards now. So we're really excited. Do you want me to pull the card or you want to pull it?
Yeah, I want you to pull because I like how you do all your shuffling and stuff.
I have my ritual. I like have to do this. So I shuffle twice. I really enjoy rituals. So I always pull a card like this. Okay, that was 2 shuffles.
Great sound effects too.
It's very pleasing. Okay, and then we're hoping for a card from the new deck, but if it's an old,
come on, yeah,
we're not going to be disappointed. Oh, it's a new one.
Okay.
Okay. Is it backwards?
Oh, that's a great one. How can you advocate for yourself today?
Yay, I love that. And also on our Instagram stories yesterday, I posted a thing about being a self-advocate. So it's like, I guess the universe is wanting me to talk about this. I want to talk about this all the time. So the question is, how can you advocate for yourself today? And what a great question. Great job, Julie and Laura, making these cards.
No, right? Our past Julie and Laura, we did great.
So I love this because I'm always working on being a better advocate for myself. I have spent a lot of my life not advocating for my needs and allowing things to happen that I didn't want to happen, or saying yes to things that I didn't want to do, or saying no to things because whatever, variety of reasons, fear, imposter syndrome, all the things, but I wasn't choosing things that would be what I really wanted. I wasn't advocating for myself, my needs, my goals in life, my ambitions, my personal wellness and health and all of those things. And so I love this opportunity to check in. So you who are watching, and you, Julie, who are also here, how would you answer this? I think my answer of how I can advocate for myself, I've got it. I have a meeting later today with the publisher of my book, and we're talking photo shoot, and it's a really exciting conversation, but it's also kind of a scary conversation because I don't know if they're going to have different ideas about the photo shoot than I. And I have been like kind of anxious about it, and I really want to advocate for myself and my vision of how I want the photos in the book to be. And so I've been like pumping myself up, like, reminding myself that like I don't have to give in just to like keep the peace, or because they're the publisher and I'm just the whatever. Anyway, so I can advocate for myself today by standing truly like in in the shoes that I have been preparing for myself, my advocate shoes, and staying true to my vision for the photo shoot.
Well, and I don't know how much you're willing to like or able to disclose about your book, but I know that it is a book that basically this question makes it like a double whammy because you're advocating for other people with this book. So it's like double advocacy. No wonder it feels like this big burden. But and of course, like publishing, I've never been through the publishing process, but like I always hear these stories about like, yeah, they made me put this like diet whatever on the cover. That's what a lot of dietitians tell me, or have someone on the cover that doesn't represent really who I'm hoping to talk to, and just like, yeah, people aren't able to make decisions. So I hope you're able to like stand your ground for sure.
I'm absolutely going to, because it's really important. These photos, I mean,
Yeah,
the photos are equally, if not more important than what the words are in the book.
for sure. Well, again, because I know what you're like, the advocacy piece of just having someone on in the pictures that
Is fat, is like really fat.
yes, thank
And
you for finishing that. Yes. Yes.
is literally super fat and like bending and
Yes.
twisting and like belly,
Oh, I
you know,
can't wait for it. Oh,
all, anyway, so that's mine.
well,
So
yeah, and I think about too with that question is it could be a really big thing like going to the doctor or or pushing back when a doctor recommends something, or it could also be like, hey, can you set the table for me because I'm in the middle of doing this, like delegating or just asking for like I need this for me.
and like people with PCOS, like we deal with so much physically. Like
Mhm.
I'm so tired all the time.
Yes.
And you know, if you are in a relationship with somebody who kind of expects you, or you have like these established roles in your partnership where like you do a lot of the like cooking and cleaning or childcare or whatever, like, and then on top of it you have PCOS and you deal with all this stuff, like it's so exhausting. And even if you like whatever, like honestly, like whatever your life is, like it's very exhausting anyway. And
Mhm.
so even these small moments of like, hey, I'm feeling really fatigued right now. Do you think we could just eat leftovers tonight? Or do you think you
Yeah.
could, or do you think we could just order something in? Can we have like grilled cheese tonight? You know, like something
That's what I
really.
had for lunch. And I would imagine that with PCOS being so invisible and misunderstood and I don't know, just not even taken seriously by a lot of people, that there's a need to like speak up more and people not even knowing that there's suffering going on.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's a lot too. So yeah, let us know in the comments how you can advocate for yourself today, whether big or small, you know?
I think another way of advocating for yourself is talking to people about your PCOS. And like, obviously, you're not required or obligated to
Right.
disclose all the like nitty gritty details and the, the really personal things. But one of the things, so PCOS is something that a lot of people don't understand because it's not really out there. It's not talked about so much. And like, because it's not talked about, people don't really understand what comes along with it. And because they don't understand what comes along with it, they don't know what you're going through. And so for me, and this is obviously not going to be true for everyone, but for me, one of the ways that I advocate for myself, one of my forms of self-care is letting the people in my life know what's going on with my body. And it doesn't have to be specific, but it's like, hey, did you know that people with PCOS, like there's a link between anxiety and depression and PCOS? Or like both fatigue and trouble falling asleep. And like I happen to deal with those. And so that's why sometimes like in the morning, like if I have a meeting, I might have to cancel that meeting because I didn't go to sleep last night until 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., like stuff like that. So like that way, maybe when I do need to cancel that morning meeting, it's like, hey, remember when I told you X? Well, it happened. And so can
Yes.
we
Yes.
reschedule? And then it's easier for me in the future to be like, hey, I
Mhm.
need to reschedule because I've already kind of let them know like
That's a
that
great point.
this happens to me. So that's been really helpful for me, like that specific example.
Well, I think about like, yeah, your future self's going to benefit by proactively advocating, by just like telling people about what you live with and yeah, putting a name to it and how it's important sometimes to know that sometimes you just can't see it, that I need help or I need extra space or I need rest or
Yeah.
I'm in
And
pain.
obviously, like only telling people when it feels safe to do so,
Yeah.
right? When you know that like they're gonna respect you and be kind and compassionate with you. Like, and I understand that not everyone is in a position to tell people things, especially when it comes to work and like what's comfortable or safe. So I'm not saying that you have to do that. I'm just saying like that's been a really great thing for me to do.
Yeah. Yeah. One other thing I want to mention with the advocacy, you're talking to people about their experiences in the world where the world doesn't feel accommodating, whether it's like going to a concert and the seats they're not accessible for their body, or a doctor only giving out advice that includes like major surgery on an organ that is perfectly fine. Um, because I don't even want to say the name of the surgery.
You don't
Uh,
need, you got it.
um, but I can recall many stories where again a person, I feel like someone who's being oppressed should never have to like speak
Yeah,
up. And when people have there's times where it's caused like this positive ripple effect where doctors' offices have changed, or concert venues have changed when they were able to make new seating arrangements and things like that. So yeah, whenever you can, just know that it's going to help the person behind you for sure.
yeah, and know that it's not just helping you, it's like really you're helping everybody,
Yeah.
but also you're not obligated to do that.
No, yeah, I feel like I want to make sure that
I want to be so clear, like we're not saying that at all.
I mean, it's not fair that it even has to happen like that.
Yeah, but this is the world. This is the world we live in.
And when you do, it helps so many people, you
Yes,
know?
it does, but like sometimes I'm in that place to do those things, and sometimes I'm just really not.
Yeah. And that's your way of advocating in that moment too.
It is. Look at you.
Well, I know we need to wrap up this portion, but advocacy is a really important part, I know, for both you and me and the work we do. So
Yeah.
that was fun to discuss. So yeah, let us know in comments what you're thinking. And
Yeah. Tell us. I'm so curious to hear.
yeah. Well, and you know, this is normally the time where we start to talk about like questions that people have asked. And from what I've gathered, we don't have any new questions to answer.
We don't have any new questions to answer, but
We just have been telling everything. There's no questions.
we're so thorough that nobody has any questions. Number one, leave your questions because we love answering. I didn't even hear what you said.
I said no one's ever called me thorough.
So number one, leave your questions because we love to answer your questions. And number two, because we don't have any today, we thought we would turn the tables on you and say, you tell us what topics you want to see us discuss. What do you want to add to the box? Let us know, because I'll just write it on a Post-it illegibly and put it in here.
I will be like, wait, what is that?
And I'll be like, what? What? Oh my God.
Yeah.
So below, tell us what topics you want to be discussed at some point, and we'll put it in the box, and at some point we'll draw it and talk about it.
Yeah, looking forward to see what those are.
Yeah, which is a great segue into what our topic is going to be today.
Is that a new box, or is it just a different side of the box?
Oh, you're at the bottom of the box when normally you see the top of the box.
Yes.
Just a plug for Fatties Against Fascism.
What
and the fatrose.org. Fatrose.org. www. When everyone used to always say www. whatever blah blah blah.com.
HTTP.
HTTP. Okay, mixing it up. You can see all my beautiful Post-its in
I
here.
just think you could write a comment below, and it can end up in that little wall.
Okay. What's it gonna be?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. It's just because it's a good one.
Okay.
You can never read it.
I can.
It says, you didn't cause your PCOS.
Oh yeah, this is a good one. You're right.
Like,
That may be all we need to say. Did you know you didn't cause your PCOS?
oh my God, I love and hate this topic so much because it is so emotional. It's so deep in us. I think for myself and people who I've spoken to about this, like it is like this gross, deep thing inside of us, like the very center of us. It's like this black cloud, this source of shame, this
Oh.
source of embarrassment and like trauma
Mhm.
that we believe or believed, whatever the case may be, that we caused our PCOS. And we have this because the world told us that.
Yeah,
But the
yeah,
world was fucking wrong.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what I have to say about it.
Yeah, no, you like the collective you, and I know also you, Laura Burns, were told that you caused it. And it's like, no, no, we know, and we've known for a long time that PCOS is passed down through family. And if you have access to your biological family tree and just like who's in there, you may know people who have a family history of diabetes. There may even be known PCOS or infertility or something like that where you can really, like, oh yeah, I'm not the only person in my family. And even if you still can't pinpoint, we know that it's passed down through families. There's some environmental connections, but not things that you cause. It's
Mhm.
not like a weight increase caused it. That's not true. It's not that food that was eaten or too much food or
You
um,
ate yourself into it.
yeah,
Like you ate yourself into diabetes. Like it's very like Julie always, mentions like there's very similar
yeah.
rhetoric about these two.
Mhm.
And whatever percent, Julie can say the percentage, but a lot of people with PCOS will end up with diabetes by the time they're 40, I
Yep,
think.
50%. 50%. Yeah.
50%.
Yeah. And it's still mostly genetic.
Yeah. And I think for me, one of the most impactful things was hearing until I believed it. So having to hear it a lot of times
Mhm.
that I
Mhm.
didn't cause my PCOS because I really believed that I did.
Mm.
And even though I had been off the diet train for a long, like years and years and years, like, probably a decade or more by that point, it really messed me up when I got my diagnosis, and um I backtracked in my anti-diet beliefs, and I was like,
Mm.
maybe I do need to diet, maybe I do need to consider weight loss surgery. Like, can you even believe like that I'm saying this? Like, and I was like, oh, like considering things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really believe like I did this to myself, and the only thing, and I can cure it because I also believed that I could cure it by losing weight
Mhm.
because that's what people told me, and it's also not true. In case you've never heard that, you can't cure it. Um, and it was such a source of shame, and I really spiraled, and I think that I hear this from so many people, like
Yeah.
we really spiral because we believe like you're taught to believe what doctors tell you, and you're taught to believe like the science, even though like the science it's not real, it doesn't
I mean,
exist.
the science isn't saying that.
The weight loss companies are
Oh yeah,
quoting
that's not
the
science. That's
science.
capitalism. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They want to tell you something, and doctors are telling you this, and like they mean well. I don't think that they don't mean well, but like they don't actually know.
Yeah.
But you're like taught to believe them. You're like, culturally like, oh, doctors know everything. But
Mhm.
like that's not always true. Anyway, the point is, dude, the shame
Yeah.
of believing that you caused it is intense.
Yeah. I
It,
mean, the way you're describing it too, it sounds like, especially with diagnosis itself, like it sounds like there's a lot of fear when you
mm,
get that diagnosis, and especially when it has a link to diabetes and how that's used as a weapon too. And
mhm,
there's something about like behavior change where in medicine, I think over time as healthcare providers, we've connected to that moment where someone gets a diagnosis and they feel all that fear, and it will catapult them into shifting somehow.
mhm,
And, after just a few years in healthcare, I was like, oh, I can see that, yeah, this fear has some power with it, but it actually seems to really just connect to like anxiety and shame, and it doesn't really go anywhere. And for
yeah,
very few people, like that type of like feeling of like, it for many people, it doesn't lead to like something like a sustainable health promoting thing. It leads to like panic.
yeah,
And that's something that is not connected to really like centering your needs and your self care. And I wish there was something that we could do in the whole process of diagnosis that would allow people to connect to that. Well, they can watch our videos,
The pamphlet.
in our pamphlet that we dream of making. Because we know for many of you, you didn't get a pamphlet or anything. And then other people did get a pamphlet, but it was a really crappy pamphlet.
Yeah, we always joke about making this like end all be all pamphlet that says all the truth, but it would have to be like a whole book length.
It would need to be a book. Yeah.
So I always joke about the magical pamphlet that would tell you all the things. But like Julie, as you were talking, it reminded me of that moment.
Mm-hmm.
My immediate impulse was diet.
Yeah.
People told me, and that's what I know because I spend my life dieting.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's not that it like I was like, oh, I'm gonna, practice intuitive eating more and like really like nurture my body. It was like I'm gonna go on the most restrictive, most intense like kind of diet, and those kind of diets I know, and from my body and other people's bodies, that they cause so much harm.
Yeah.
Like my metabolism is so screwed up from a lifetime of like weight cycling from extreme diets that like I would have been better off just never dieting and allowing my body to just be. But like that's like exactly the impulse, that moment that you were talking about. And then like, okay, what's the most restrictive diet that I can go on to try and like cure my PCOS? And like if I had done that, I would be in an even worse situation. Like, oh.
Well, and that's the thing that I know about behavior change is like, again, there's not usually something that's like fruitful and like caring and the way you'd want it to be in those moments of panic. For most people, it just isn't what really that they're wanting and needing. And unfortunately, it does seem like because it's so powerful and we can all relate to that moment of like, that especially doctors, they rely on that as their only go-to. And that ends up really, because it doesn't work, it doesn't last long term, it ends up hurting, especially with PCOS, like those super restrictive or any kind of diets. Like I don't recommend those to people I work with. I think they really hurt PCOS. And I wish instead there was more of like, okay, you're going to need to rest more than other people. You're going to need to have more boundaries. I really want to make sure you eat enough.
Things that no one ever said to me. Here's the list. Eat enough. That definitely has. I don't know if that's ever been said to me in my entire life.
Those are the top 3 things I think of for PCOS.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to you right now, as your like pretend dietitian in the moment.
Thank you.
Yeah, make sure you're getting enough rest. You need more boundaries, and make sure you're eating enough. You didn't cause your PCOS.
Yeah, and also you didn't cause it. There's something that you have said before, and I'm trying to remember what it is, that when it comes to like the passing down of PCOS, something about the father's side. Can you remind me what that is?
Well, and I don't have like the words that probably like a geneticist or somebody would use in the moment, but for most people that I've talked to, it seems like the PCOS seems to come from their father's side. And I don't know what's up with that, but I've read some research articles on that, and it just seems kind of to be at this point not really a significant like in research way to say yes, it definitely comes from the father side, but it's definitely, as a practitioner, a lot of us have heard this. And so that's where I encourage people to look first. Like, does your father's side have a history of diabetes? Does your father have diabetes, or did he have diabetes? And kind of starting in that direction is often where you'll find it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember that you had said that before, but I didn't remember the details.
Yeah.
So, just in case, because I know that this is kind of like a new thing for most people to hear, that it's passed down. And so yeah, and then I hear a lot of like, well, my mom doesn't have it. But also, I think that like PCOS has been underdiagnosed, or like the doctor would be like, oh yeah, you have PCOS, but they don't actually tell the patient.
Yes. Yes.
Not only
did you not cause it, but they don't. Not only did you not cause it, but they often don't trust you with the information to get actually a diagnosis.
Yeah. Oh, yikes.
It is a big yikes.
All caps, yikes. Man. So yeah, so if there's like, if you take away nothing else, like you didn't cause it, and the shame that you might be feeling, like if you just got diagnosed, or even if you didn't, even if you have been diagnosed for 20, 30 years, whatever, like that kernel of shame that like lives deep in there, like it's probably still there,
Oh,
even if you don't feed it actively. Like I think it's still there because the world feeds it, especially if you're in a fat body, especially if you have a lot of visible PCOS symptoms, or have dealt with infertility. Like there's so many sources and opportunities for shame. And so if you feel like you have that like little dark spot, that shame inside of you, like I hope that just hearing like you didn't cause your PCOS can just help it to release a little bit, to lighten, or whatever, metaphor.
yeah, you may even need to tell that part over and over again.
Oh yeah, you definitely will.
Yeah, like I wonder what that part needs to hear to like let go of that shame.
Yeah, I mean, I still have to reinforce that. It's the thing, it's the swimming against the stream. And if you stop reinforcing, if you stop telling these things to yourself, then the water, the diet culture river is going to push you back and just sweep you up and be back in that. And that's what started to happen to me when I first got diagnosed, and that's what happens to me when I stop like actively working on this, when I stop doing the work, right? Like reinforcing and reminding and all those things, like I get swept up.
And that's why you need a lot more rest. That's a lot of swimming.
Yeah, we have to work really hard. We have to swim constantly.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, this has been really good. And I hope for you watching that this is helpful for you to just kind of connect with that truth, that you didn't cause it. And
even if it feels hard to hear that and you don't really believe us, like just, yeah, that's okay. But just like take that in, let it marinate. Keep reading, keep listening, keep talking to people, and like just be and be open to the fact that like doctors don't always know everything. They don't always give you all the information, and that the science and facts that are often presented, if you trace it back, like where's that coming from? It's coming from a company that wants to sell you a product that is usually weight loss.
Right. That's right.
So yeah, comment below, tell us, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Like whatever, you say whatever you want in a respectful way. In a kind and compassionate way. So yeah, leave a comment below. If you like this video, please give it a like. And if you want to see more stuff from us, subscribe. We're trying to grow our channel. We want to have you along with us for the ride. We put these out every other week, so usually like 2 a month. And you can come find us on Instagram. We're at PCOS Body Liberation, and that's also our website, http PCOSbodyliberation.com. Yeah, I don't know, Julie, what else?
I think that's everything. Yeah.
Should we toast?
We shall.
Cheers with our mugs that just look like white mugs.
I know they aren't. I promise. Oh yeah, you cover it up. Like, oh, see, you can, it's like magic.
Look.
You can get one of these mugs too by joining.
Oh yeah, come join the community. Yeah. All right, ready? Cheers.
Yay. Have a good night.
Bye.